Food groups represent the attempt to match those biochemistry concepts we discussed in the previous units with daily dietary habits and foods. As we already mentioned, biochemistry of nutrition describes nutrients and their function. But something we have always to remember is that every human being eats foods, and foods are made up of different nutrients. So, how can we classify foods? Well, there's still a huge variability, a huge debate among countries around the world. But in most cases, foods are classified according to the most present nutrient inside of them. And we need food groups because foods and not nutrients represent the object of people's daily choices in terms of nutrition. So it's extremely complex to suggest someone, well, you need some more protein, you need some more carbohydrates, because he does not know what and where to find proteins or carbohydrates. He or she will better understand if the expert would say, well, you should eat some more cereals, some more meat, for example. So this is the reason why foods have been divided into groups. We need food groups because the classification of food into homogeneous groups represents a fundamental step in the process of educating people to a healthy diet. Grouping foods on the basis of their nutritional characteristics made it possible to give the population clear indication on how many portions of each group they should consume in their diet. This is an example of how food have been grouped. We can take as an example the group of fruit and vegetables. Of course, this group will contain any kind of fruit and any kind of vegetable. Of course, one huge group can be subdivided into subgroups. So in this case, we will have the group of, the subgroup of fruit and the subgroup of vegetable. And each of these subgroups will be divided into type of foods. For example, fruit will be divided into fresh or dried fruit, and so on. There's, as I mentioned, still now a huge variability in terms of food groups around different countries in the world. Some countries prefer to describe few groups, like 5 as we have in Italy. Some other countries prefer to divide foods into more groups, like 7 or even more. To make a long story short, I will show you quickly how we organize foods into groups here in Italy. Not only because this is my country, but also because this grouping of foods have been revised recently. So we have 5 groups: group of cereal, derivatives and tubers. The second one is fruits and vegetables. Then we have group 3 with meat, fish, eggs and legumes. The group of dairy product and milk. And the group of seasoning fats. We can immediately understand that each one of these groups are characterized by a certain aspect. For example, cereal, their derivatives and tubers, they are all foods of course containing more nutrients, but in this case they have carbohydrates, well, complex carbohydrates, as the main nutrient inside of them. Fruits and vegetables are commonly characterized by the presence of minerals, vitamins, some sugars, especially in fruits, but especially dietary fiber. Meat, fish, egg, and legumes, they provide mainly protein. Of course, they have something else. Legumes have some carbohydrates. Meat, fish, and eggs, they have some lipids, of course. But the most important one, in terms of quantity, is represented by proteins. I can provide you an example, like group 1, so the group of cereals, derivatives, and tubers. It is composed by two subgroups, the cereals and their derivatives, and the tubers. Some types of foods, of course, the most clear example of tubers is represented by potatoes, but in the case of cereals and their derivatives, we have bread, pasta, but also rice, any other cereal, and or bread substitutes like crackers. The common characteristics of the two subgroups is the presence of complex carbohydrates, as we mentioned before, but also some dietary fiber and vitamins from the group B. In the material provided together with the deepening of these units, you will find some examples, some other table for all the other groups. It is not sure if food groups will be maintained in the future as we know them today. Recent proposals aimed at new classification of food provide a different food grouping on the basis of the extent of processing method used, thus allowing to distinguish into unprocessed or minimally processed food, food processed at home or at the industrial level, or highly processed food. However, this type of classification is not yet applied in the various countries of the European Union, but the importance of a classification like this would allow to distinguish between those foods that are highly processed from those that are unprocessed. And usually, highly processed foods are often less healthy, and they are also much more impacting on the sustainability.